All right, let's take a look at that. And once again, for these Xfinity road courses, I had to phone in some help. So thank you once again to Ryan for getting this lap for me to put some time into, and I think it turned out really well. So I'm just going to basically go over some of the fundamentals that are inputted into here because I myself am not very fast here, but I can give a good idea of some of the fundamentals that go into being fast. So first off, when you have such a long straightaway like this front stretch, I guess you call it, prioritizing exit speed on this final right-hander is very important. So you see how he kind of rolls into it just so that he can get on the gas as early as possible. That's going to carry for such a long straightaway that it's kind of a no-brainer to do when you're coming to a start-finish line like this. Okay, now we're going to come down the hill a bit and head into turn one, and I want to talk about braking technique. So one thing I want to point out with Ryan's braking is that he does not have full braking and wheel input at the same time. He is either braking and going straight or trail braking and turning. It is never both of those things. You can see that the moment he turns his wheel is directly correlated to when he goes from 75% brake to 25% brake, right? So what that does is these cars are boats, and honestly this is fundamental with pretty much any car, but these cars do not like to brake and turn. They like to trail brake and turn, but they don't like to brake and turn. So if you have to keep the brake at 75% while you start turning, that means that your braking point's too late. All right, so he goes through this corner, and again, another thing to worry about on long run in particular is not to slide the rear tires coming off of these corners. Now you're pushing in hot lap, you'll do whatever you have to do. But for long run, one of the best ways to preserve your lap time is just to take those corners, exit slightly easier, and then not have to, and then not have to spin the tires at all. Okay, and then we'll see, again, trail braking straight to throttle. So again, look, no coasting ever in these corners. He goes straight from trail brake to partial throttle, and then once he's able to straighten out the wheel, full throttle. Now, that kind of sounds like some stuff I talk about in oval. Well, it's because these are oval cars at the end of the day, and this is just the type of weight transfers that they like the best. They like to go straight from a trail brake to a partial throttle to keep momentum, and it doesn't matter what direction they're turning. Again, make sure to use as much real estate as you can. He starts out really wide on the curb, and then he'll go into that trail brake and then straight back to partial throttle. Usually that partial throttle is best applied either right at, but usually slightly before an apex. You can see that most of the time he is partial throttling even before he gets to the curb. And that just is a little bit of extra time for free because you don't necessarily have to wait to get to your apex to start throttling. If you throttle and still hit your apex, you still hit your apex. You'll see this here too. He's throttling through the curbs. Gets a little loose there. Took a little too much curb, but that's all time, you know. Throttling through the curb, it's pretty much the same with these slow turns. You can just throttle through the curb. Now again, same braking technique, throttling slightly through the curb. I think he could have wanted to stay on the brake just a tiny bit longer, but this corner is a little bit longer or a little bit sharper. It's the one that's slightly more than 90%. So when you have a fake hairpin like this, then yeah, that throttling through the curb isn't going to work as well. And this is all just throttle control, keeping the car from sliding out, but also trying to get on the full throttle as early as possible. So you see he tries to throttle at least most of the way through before even exiting the corner, tries to straighten out the wheel as early as possible. That's what he's trying to do with the wheel there. And then this turn right here is going to have to feel like a little bit of a flick. These fast, like 60-degree turns, 45-degree turns type turns, you get on the brake until your car can make that weight transfer, and then you flick your wheel for the weight transfer and get to the curb. And then it gets a little loose there, but he was still able to carry good speed through that because of that flick. And then we're coming through, is it Thunder Alley, I think it's called. And then, so again, same braking technique. For some reason here that I couldn't comprehend 100%, he's not hitting that same kind of 80% brake that he was getting before. which leads me to believe he could probably move his braking point a little bit forward and try to get to that 70% that he was getting to on previous corners, but there might be something like downhill or on the surface that makes it so that this starts locking up at a 50% and above. But still same principles, trail brake, throttle through the curb, use all the real estate that you got. Throttle control through these turns. Late apexes on the curbs, throttle through them. Use all your real estate. Pretty much the same rules applied to different corners. And then again, late apex, throttle through the curb. And we're able to carry a lot of speed onto the start-finish line and complete the lap. So the only thing that's going to be really different between that lap and hot lap is just how aggressive you are on those corner exits. A few loose moments there that you don't want for long run but are perfectly fine to push for in hot lap. But other than that, the lines are all pretty replicable. Alright, thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.